testing is, right? So how important it is in today's time, like we have to, whenever we have to release any software. So in today's world, along with software testing, now performance testing is with has become an incredible part of software testing, and it is must for a software before it is being shipped to the market. Okay, so there are different variants of performance testing. That is load testing. Load testing is, as we discussed, testing the system against system standards capabilities. Okay, like system is a capable of 100 transactions per second or 1,000, so we are just testing that. Okay, and then there are more variants of performance: stress testing, endurance, scalability, flight testing. Okay, so that we have already covered. So today what we will be covering is how we can perform this testing. Okay, so in market today there are a number of tools through which we can do the performance testing. So I answered, like told yesterday also, why we need perform tool to do performance testing. Okay, so in market there are n number of tools through which we can load test. Okay, so but why we require it? Let's say one user, let's say you have developed a product, and for your product you want to see how your product is performing when there is 500 users load on your system. Okay, right? So now, to mimic the realistic situation, right, we cannot have we cannot have 500 users sitting in a lab or in a place that will be accessing your application concurrently and generating the traffic. So that is not a feasible scenario. I hope you can understand. Like even you cannot manage to have at least 10 to 15 users that will be doing the concurrently, that will be performing transactions concurrently. Okay, so to overcome those drawbacks, okay, and to better mimic and generate the load for a desired user, so these tools has been designed. Okay, so now in today's market there are, like, if we first of all let's take up paid tools, right? So paid tools, if when we talk, there is load runner, neoload, okay, redline is there, then uh, silk performer also got some paid load testing features. Okay, similarly now, so the load runner was the dominant player so far. Okay, so load runner is a product of HP. Okay, so it was dominant player till from, I guess you can say, from 2005 or 7, right? But now scenarios has been changed as entire IT industry is coming to the open source things like that are freely available to the users. Like we transform from Windows to Linux because Linux systems are open sources and much more secure, and we can do the lot of file related system very quickly. Okay, so now with the evolution of new technologies, so open source tools also started coming in the load testing and performance testing industry. So it started with the dominant player in the open source market. If we talk about load testing, now in current date is Apache Jmeter. Okay, so Jmeter is a product of Apache organization. Okay, so you all must have heard of Apache. So Apache web servers, Apache, everything is from Apache. Apache Spark, Apache Kafka. Okay. So Jmeter is a product of Apache organization. Okay. And there are other open source tools as well available. Gatling is there, Bad Boy is there. Okay. So and I guess some load stand, something like that is there. Okay. So there are n number of tools available in the market, but if we talk about 70% of the market share is captured by Jmeter these days. Okay, so now let's discuss about this Jmeter overview, capabilities, and a bit history about Jmeter. Okay. Yes. So if we talk about the overview and history of this, okay. So Jmeter, now yeah, the example I was asking, was telling just currently. Like let's say that one day your boss asks you to do performance testing of your server or your product, right, for 100 users. Okay, what would you do? So this is the solution. Okay, so we will step to the tool. Okay, so let's say we are focusing on JMeter. So JMeter is, as I told, it's an open source software and it is a Java based application. So that gives more power. Like you can, okay, and yes, so excuse me, I was just this one candidate is facing some issue with its mic, I guess. Let me check with it. Shiva, you're already unmuted here, so even on okay, let me ask Varun to take care. Guys, just excuse me. Just one candidate is facing some issues. I'm just fixing that. Okay. So yes, let's come back. Okay, so as I told, Jmeter is a Java application. So the only prerequisite we have to install our machines is Java, right? So just we need Java, and either your system is Linux based or it's Windows based. You have to just download Java for your system. Okay, so you can download the Java JDK also and JRE also. So JDK is for development work and JRE is to just run the Java apps. So even you can uh, do the Java JRE for your to run your Jmeter. Okay, so no need to have a development kit. Okay, guys, just excuse me. I guess one candidate is facing a lot of issues. Just hold on. Okay. So yes, like we were discussing. Okay. So for JMeter, the only prerequisite we require is the Java. So just install Java on your systems. Okay. So once you are done with it, right? So then we have to just install the JMeter. Okay. So JMeter was developed by Stefano Mazzoshi of the Apache Software Foundation. Okay. So it was designed and aimed to load test the functional behavior and measure the performance. Okay. Even we can use JMeter to do the functional testing also. Okay. To ensuring okay our login is working or not. Okay. So okay. So Phil, actually one of my candidate was just in this session and he's facing issues, so he's not able to hear and speak. Okay, so that's why I was on call. Okay, so please excuse me for that. So okay, so now JMeter, with the help of JMeter, we can test a number of things, right? We can test we can test HTTP based applications. Okay, HTTPS based applications. Okay, so similarly we can load test web services, right? Similarly, we can load test any web application working on JDBC protocol, right? That is database SQL queries. Okay. So similarly, we can load test Flex protocol. Okay, Flex protocol based applications. Then we can load test WebSocket based applications. Okay, and much more applications, a lot of applications we can load test through Jmeter. Okay, so let's discuss about Jmeter advantages and capabilities. Okay, so Jmeter first of all is the open source license, so any organization, any individual can use it. Okay, so it doesn't require any premium features from you. You just, if you want to extend its functionality, so there are number of plugins available. Okay, so the GUI is friendly, right? Platform is independent, as I said, like you can install Java on any system and then you can run the Jmeter even on Linux box, even on Windows box, any platform. Okay, so it's full multi-threading framework that helps us in simulating concurrent users load. Okay, then there is we can visualize test result. So there are a lot of listeners available through which we can visualize everything what we want to visualize in terms of response time, right? number of transactions occurred in during the load test. Okay, so everything we can visualize, right? Then installation is quite easy. Okay, we are just coming to the installation part also. Okay, so highly extensible. Let's say you want to extend some functionalities. So there are a number of plugins available on GitHub, on the open source communities. Okay, so unlimited testing capabilities. Yes, you can perform a lot of things like load tests, web services testing, functional testing through Jmeter. Okay, and as I mentioned, it supports multi-protocol. So it supports HTTP, HTTPS, FTP, LDAP, right? A lot of protocols, right? So that's why you can load test a number of applications working on different protocols. And the like if someone asks, okay, can Jmeter load test application running in IE browser, Mozilla browser? So that's a very vague question, right? So you have to just keep in mind your Jmeter tool always work on protocol. Okay, wherever there is a protocol involved, so you can record the traffic using Jmeter. Okay, so in using Jmeter, you have to ensure like you are working on a protocol. Okay, let's say HTTP is a protocol, so you can record the traffic. HTTP is the same. Web services is again using HTTP and HTTPS. So wherever there is protocol is involved, so Jmeter can record the traffic. Okay. So similarly, now let's come back. How does JMeter basically work? So the practical working of JMeter is like JMeter simulates a group of users. Okay, so they send requests to a target server. Let's say your target server is some social media or like Google.com or Facebook.com, right? So JMeter sends multiple requests to the target server, fetch the stat, your stats information, okay, and then with its features like listeners, and in that it generates the test reports. Okay, so we will be covering everything in our test, how we send multiple requests, right? So what information then Jmeter pulls from the servers, then how it generates the test report in different formats. Okay, so here is a small cycle that is showing us, okay, first of all we create a request to target server, the server respond back. Now Jmeter save all responses, and then we collect the stats. Okay, so this is like how Jmeter works. Okay, so now if someone says, okay, Jmeter is a browser, so that's not a valid thing, because Jmeter mimics like a lot of functionality as of browser, but it's not a browser because it works at protocol level, as I said. Okay, and our browsers execute the embedded resources in a request. Let's say I'll show you. Let's say we access some Jmeter forum. Okay, okay, so we access this. So there are a number of requests which are consisting of images, JavaScript, everything, right? So our browser can execute those JavaScripts and other embedded resources, right? But Jmeter does not execute these embedded resources. So it just download the JavaScript found in HTML pages. So, but it does not execute that. Okay. So It does not render even the HTML as browser does. So that's why we don't include such requests in our test plan, because Jmeter is just downloading them and not executing them. So we are just downloading them, and Jmeter does not execute JavaScript or HTML or CSS such elements. Okay, these are the embedded resources, like they are embedded in the parent request reverted by the server. Okay, so far any query, any concern over the content delivered, please let me know so that we can otherwise proceed to the installation part of Jmeter. Okay, so let's come to the installation part. Okay, okay, so for Java, yeah, JRE, it's Java JRE. You can install, even you can install Java JDK also. That's not an issue, right? So JDK is the Java Development Kit. So that is meant for developers. So some features, like more features are available in it, right? And JRE is Java run your environment only, right? So there you cannot do some development work. If if development work is required, so definitely you need JDK. But in JMeter, definitely we have to just execute the JMeter. We just need Java to just launch the JMeter. So that's why JRE will also work. Java JRE or Java JDK. Okay. So now we will come and now we will install our JMeter. Okay. So here are few JMeter links from where we can download. Okay. So just go to this site. Okay. Okay. So this is the jmeter.apache.org. Download jmeter.cgi. Okay. So we have just gone to this site, and you can download. This is the official site of Jmeter. So everything is available here. All right. So currently, like Jmeter 4 has been released, so that requires Java 9. So this update was released because Java 9 has become in the market. So to support that, so the Jmeter new version has been released. Okay, so we can download the Jmeter from this archives also. So this is the latest version, but I will insist you all to do the Jmeter practice on the earlier versions, because then you will be able to get the most of the support from the forums as well, because the end users, like the technical persons in load testing or load testers, are using earlier versions only. Okay, so you can try with 3.1, 3, 3.2, anything like that, but don't use latest versions when you're in learning mode, because definitely you will face issues, you will face challenges, you will come up with queries. Okay, so you will Google around, and the uh, more options for your search will be available when you will be working on the earlier versions. Okay, so from here we can download it, right? So let's say if we download 3.1, right? So just tap in here, okay, and the downloading will start. Okay. So I'll just cancel because I am already having these versions. Okay. So the once you will get this zip folder, right? So you will get the zip folder like this, Apache Jmeter 3. Okay. So you have to just do nothing. You have to just extract this all. Okay. So the moment you will tap extract, so this like folder like this will be created. Okay. So now this Apache Jmeter folder has been created. There are number of different folders in it. Okay. So just target and go into bin folder. Okay. So bin is a very important folder. So always ensure no files get deleted from here. Okay. And minimal, try to have minimal files in here. Now from here you can see one Apache Jmeter jar file will be there. Jar is Java archive file. Okay. So now just double click this. Okay. And Jmeter will be launched. Okay. So this is our Jmeter console. Okay. And this is our Jmeter console. Okay. So we can launch it through this Apache Jmeter jar as well. Okay. So Apache Jmeter jar in bin directory helps in launching the Jmeter. Okay. Similarly, there is a Jmeter batch file also. Okay. So like in Windows we have batch files that execute different tasks. Okay. So similarly in bin folder we do have a batch file. Okay. Yeah, in here. Just tap that. So the Jmeter console is launched, right? Okay. So this way we can launch a Jmeter console. Okay. So now if you don't have Java, so definitely you will not be able to launch this console. Okay. So ensure Java is there and then extract the Jmeter installation folder. Okay. So there's no difference between both of files, right? So this is you are invoking through batch and this is a executable file. This is a different jar file, that is a batch file. Okay. So if you will go into this, so jar is always a encrypted, like it's a like your all classes and everything is there, right? And in batch file, that is another way of launching the invoking the Java based applications. Okay, so everything is defined in here, right? So there's no difference. You can launch from Jmeter batch file also and Jmeter jar file also. Okay. So any queries, any concerns so far, like what you can get in installation or introduction about Jmeter? Okay. So if you are looking for the earlier versions, so you can just go to directly to this link. Okay. Alright. So you are just on the archives. Alright. So here now there are new versions. Right. So if you are not looking for archives, you want to download the latest, so you can download from here. Okay. and let's say you want to study something about some Jmeter elements. So this is the URL for the user manual, right? So you can start and you can read anything you want, right? So let's say this is an overview. So this is the Jmeter user manual mainly. Okay. So entire user manual is listed. Okay. Okay, so the difference between binaries and source, like you will download them. So there are different folders and data is maintained in both of them. Okay, but for Windows and both Linux systems, you can download the source 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 ones, source files. Okay, so in binaries they are maintaining some other things as well related to some their information related to some like if someone face any hiccups or like sometimes what happen in binaries version here that Apache Jmeter job is not included, okay, but in source folder source one, so everything is intact, right? So I haven't spotted any exact difference between binaries and source, but yes, one major thing is like sometimes there is a jar is not listed, right? So always try to choose this source version, right, and download the Jmeter from this area. Okay. So guys, okay, so here you can see the jar file. Yes,
When I downloaded the binaries one, I didn't see the jar file.
yeah, that's a difference. Okay. So now anything related to today's session. So we will keep this simple so that you guys can install your Jmeter at least first of all. Okay. Then I will be starting like the next session. So from the next session we will be start recording test on our Jmeter. Okay, through Jmeter. So I will tell you this is like this is the your our first window that get open in Jmeter. Okay, so from here we can elements we can add different elements that are listed in a course thread group. Then right click. Then we can add controllers. Right. Similarly, we will add sampler. So I will tell about each and everything. Don't feel like what is listener, what is sampler. Okay. Sure. I will be emailing all the installation documents, okay, and even this the notes, whatever we are maintaining, right? So that I will also email you, okay. So and this is the workbench area. So this is the temporary staging area, okay. So but in the new version, this has been replaced, but we will be working with this so that you will also come to know like Jmeter used to have a temporary staging area also. Okay. So there's a file menu. You can open any JMX file from here. Okay. Okay. The script created in Jmeter is ended with the extension called .jmx. Okay. We should all know about this. Okay. So now there are different options available, like how we run the test, how we stop the test. Okay. So we will be doing everything. We will be discussing everything. So you guys just first of all get away with the installation part, and then we will start from the next session how we record through Jmeter. Okay. So this is it from today's session. If in case anyone having any query related to this, just let me know. No, the class will be now on Monday, so we are off on weekends. Okay, so next session we will be resuming from Monday onwards. Okay, okay, guys, I'm done with today's session, so I'm just leaving it